Welcome to the Glenn Beck program. Tonight, if the Tea Parties think the onslaught from the media has been bad so far, here's the latest accusation. The Tea Parties are engaged in extermination talk. Really? I haven't seen that. Also tonight, I'm going to give you a look into the mind of the guy I believe is the most dangerous man in America. Can you name him? How he thinks anti-government groups should be dealt with. And I also want to show you the principles that we need to cling to. If you want to restore America, if you want to save it from becoming a progressive nightmare, I want to show you the train to get on. Come on, let's go. Hello, America. I have to tell you, I am so energized after our meeting last night with Dr. King. I have thought about her words all last night and today, and I have to tell you, we are on the right track. We are on the right track. Don't you miss a single episode. Don't miss it. And don't miss a second of tonight's show. Tonight, I want to talk to you about Goldman Sachs, the Supreme Court Justice nominee, and freedom of speech. But I want to start in an unusual place. I want to show you what the founder of the Daily Kos, which is this far left-wing blog, said. Here's what he said just the other day about Tea Parties.
This is what the people voted for, and it's one thing to oppose it on policy. It's another thing to use the kind of exterminationist, eliminationist rhetoric that they're using in appealing to violence and that sort of thing.
Okay, extermination talk. I haven't heard any of the extermination talk. It sounds like, again, he's calling us Nazis. Okay. How can you paint the right like Nazis? Actually, when I heard this, I thought, wow, this guy, I mean, he proves my point. He's right. He's right if you say, you know, those people with George Bush, you know, they just thought he was okay and now he didn't do anything about it. He's right. If that's really what you thought about George W. Bush and you were wide awake, because then you'd be part of the progressive movement. And that makes my point on the railroad tracks. And I want to show you this again. I've added a lot to this. So I want you to... This is the worst television ever done. We're doing it every day. Congratulations. I told you on this railroad track, this is the European railroad track, okay? This is where we got off in 1791. This is the new system. We said we can't go down these railroad tracks because these railroad tracks in Europe were built for lords and dukes and earls and kings. Now it's fascist and communist. Left and right, European is communist and fascist, okay? That's the rail. But they're not, those aren't the rails up here in America. When I showed this to you, I forgot something. And when I heard the guy from Daily Kos, I started thinking about it. I thought, no, he's wrong. But what ties the two rails together? Nazis and communists. What ties them together? And this is what no one in the progressive movement will ever admit to, but it's true. What ties them together? If you know the official name of the Nazi party, you can answer it. The National Socialists. It's socialism. Okay? Now, how do I build a railroad track? If you're going to build a railroad track, you have to lay down the ties first. And you got to make sure that the foundation is really strong. You can't lay those rails down until you have the ties down. And the ties have to be secure. Got it? Laying the rails is actually the easy part. The hard part is laying the foundation. It's also the thing, if you're going to get somebody to stop using that track, it's going to take you a while if the foundation was really solid. That's why it's taken the progressive movement 100 years. 100 years to destroy and bring us onto this track again, the European track. We have neglected the railroad ties. We have been taught to neglect them. We've been taught to dismiss them, and they just fell into disrepair. The railroad ties we'll get to in a second. The engine that runs, the train that runs, is the free market, okay? The progress comes from people saying, let's go forward, and using the free market system, okay? Hitler used the market. It wasn't free. It was controlled. But he used it. He had a big steam engine on it. Took you to Auschwitz. Stalin, he used the steam engine, he used the engines of the trains to take people. Where did it take you? To the gulags. We've used this engine to invent the light bulb. Wasn't government that invented the light bulb. Wasn't the government that came up with the assembly line. It wasn't the government that came up with the potbelly stove. It was not even the free market. It was people who used the free market. See, the free market will take you to a death camp or take you to success. It's up to the person in it. And where that track is, the railroad, using the ties, using the Constitution and equal justice. Those are the two rails, Constitution and equal justice. Now, what holds those two rails together? Why is our train taking us to places we shouldn't be? Why is our train taking us to places where corruption is so rampant in business and in Washington? Because the foundation is weak. On the right road, it allows the engine to push forward and create whatever it is you want to create. The light bulb, the automobile, the communist-sized gulags, death camps. The engine will take you anywhere. It's up to you, and it's up to you to see what is the foundation. What happened to the free market? People say the free market is evil. The free market is bad. The free market just is. It is what we make of it. That's it. It's the people. It's not an entity. If it's running on railroad ties that have been disassembled and are in disrepair, then it's trouble. The rails are crooked. They're not running right. And what happened is they brought this train right back down to the old tracks. Be more like Europe. Well, we are. The old tracks, lords, dukes, earls, kings, queens, parliament, socialism. Big government. Big government. Now, in Europe, and this is where we get, oh, the left, they're just nothing but communists, and the right, they're nothing but Nazis. In Europe, that's true. Because it's always been big government and the elites. And they laid these rails on that foundation. So here, it's communist. On this side, it's National Socialist. Socialism is what ties these two together. Socialism, big government apparatus. The structure. You get off the train here, you're in a gulag. You're in Soviet Union. You get off the train on this side, you're in Nazi Germany. Not here. Why? Because our ties are faith, hope, charity, self-reliance, accountability. Those were the things that we had. Our railroad ties were honesty, integrity, values, and principles. That was the bedrock of our foundation. They've been disintegrating. We haven't been repairing them. We've been neglecting them. We haven't refreshed them. We haven't been shoring them up. We've actually been taking them apart. Now, that was the foundation. But what did they lay down as the rails that would move this engine? What did they use? First was the Constitution, the rule of law. The second is equal justice under the law. Equal justice. Washington said, we're a nation of laws and not of men. Meaning, Timothy Geithner, pay your taxes. I got to pay mine. I have to. You do too. Equal justice, what else does it mean? Do you think you're equal to Goldman Sachs? Or any of these other weasels that are not being pointed out because they've got special favors with the government? Do you think you're equal? Your business is equal to Freddie and Fannie? Do you? I don't. I'd go to jail. If I did what they did, I'd go to jail. So would you. Equal justice means stop with the color of your skin. Stop with your sexuality, the content of your character. This stuff. It's what Martin Luther King fought for. It's been perverted. He didn't say, I want more justice than those people. He said, I want equal justice. And what America